The Patriots Dynasty. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. 6 Super Bowl championships over a 20-year span, and 9 Super Bowl appearances total. No matter how you slice it, the Patriots of the 2000s and 2010s put together the most dominant run in NFL history. But is it all a sham? Let's have a little fun here and think outside the box. Let's do a thought experiment. Now I want to be clear, I do not actually believe what I'm about to say, and I'll show you why at the end of the video. The bulk of this video is going to be me playing devil's advocate from the point of view of a Patriots hater. So here we go. The Patriots won their first Super Bowl in 2001, and a big reason was because of what's known as the Tuck Rule. This was when, in the 2001 divisional round versus the Raiders, Tom Brady appeared to have fumbled the ball, but upon further review the official said it was an incomplete pass because his arm was moving forward. Now that is a real rule. In fact, it happened to the Patriots earlier in the 2001 season, and there have been other examples over the years that clearly demonstrate the rule makes sense. However, in this particular instance, one could say that it looks like Tom Brady's arm comes to a rest for a brief moment, making it a fumble. And the NFL rulebook states that there has to be conclusive evidence to overturn the call on the field, which was a fumble, and this is clearly not conclusive evidence. This is not a minor thing, by the way. Had it been a fumble, the Raiders would have won the game. So having your first Super Bowl be shrouded in controversy like this is arguably worthy of having an asterisk next to it. The Patriots would go on to win 2 more Super Bowls over the next 3 years, coming out to 3 championships in a 4-year span. This by definition made them a dynasty. However, a few years down the road we would learn about a little something called Spygate. Very early in the 2007 season, it came out that the Patriots were illegally videotaping signals from opposing teams' coaches, and that they were doing so from locations that were not authorized. Upon further investigating, it was revealed that Bill Belichick had been doing this since he was hired as head coach in 2000. This means they would have been doing this for each of their 3 Super Bowl wins from 2001 to 2004. Having this kind of edge on your opponent, especially when, as far as we know, no one else was doing this, is concerning to say the least. In 2018, Steve Spagnuolo revealed that former Eagles defensive coordinator Jim Johnson was convinced the Patriots knew the Eagles' signals during Super Bowl 39. Johnson said, "They're getting our signals. They know when we're blitzing. Try to hide it." Former Eagles defensive tackle Hollis Thomas has shared similar sentiments. To make matters worse, it's been rumored that Spygate went deeper than just stealing signals. It's been alleged that the Patriots would actually bug the visiting team's locker room, as well as attempt to steal opposing teams' playbooks. If all of this is to be believed, then Spygate is surely something that cannot be ignored, and worthy of putting asterisks next to each of the Patriots' first 3 Super Bowl wins. Several sports columnists, namely Rob Parker and Skip Bayless, have been preaching this for several years. After defeating the Eagles in Super Bowl 39, the Patriots would not win another Super Bowl for 10 whole years. Quite a drought when you supposedly have a once-in-a-generation quarterback-head coach combo like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Is it fair to suspect that no longer having the perks that went with Spygate is the reason they had such a long Super Bowl drought? Skipping ahead to their next Super Bowl victory, which was in 2014 when they knocked off the Seahawks, we have ourselves another possible asterisk. Yes, the Patriots won this game, but they got the break of a lifetime when the Seahawks inexplicably didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch at the goal line. Instead, they decided to put the ball in the air, and Malcolm Butler made the biggest play of his career. Marshawn Lynch had been a battering ram the entire game. It would seem like a no-brainer, even to a football novice, to simply hand him the ball up the middle. Not doing so was so inexplicable and such a lucky break for the Patriots, you can't help but put an asterisk next to the Super Bowl victory. You can argue Pete Carroll did more to win this game for the Patriots than Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. I'm serious. If you're a Patriots fan, admit it. You thought the game was over before Malcolm Butler made that interception. Oh, and by the way, had the Patriots not had this lucky break, this would have been their 3rd straight Super Bowl loss, and Brady and Belichick would have fell to 3-3 in the big game. It makes you wonder if Belichick and Brady might have started to question themselves and lose confidence in the Patriot way. And that brings us to their next Super Bowl victory just 2 years later, and talk about another lucky finish. The Patriots found themselves down 28-3 to the Atlanta Falcons with 8 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. The Falcons had a 99.5% chance of winning at this point. And like I said about the last Super Bowl, if you're a Patriots fan, just admit it. At this point, you thought the game was over. It doesn't matter how clutch Tom Brady is, overcoming a 25-point deficit in a quarter and a half is a near impossible feat. But due to the Falcons fumbling and later digging themselves into a 3rd and 33 hole, they opened the door for the Patriots to have a ridiculous comeback victory in overtime, 34-28. But again, a very lucky win when you consider the Falcons just needed to make another play or two to put the game away. It's safe to say most teams would have been able to hold on to a 25-point lead. So that victory put the Pats dynasty at 5 Super Bowl championships total, and they would win another. Just 2 years later, they defeated the St. Louis Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53. And I got good news for you, New England fans. I have nothing to say about this victory. This is a clean win any way you look at it, so congrats. The Brady-Belichick tandem has one clean Super Bowl victory. And that was it for the Brady-Belichick dynasty. Tom Brady would depart for Tampa Bay just a year later, concluding the most dominant run with a single team in NFL history. But there's one more thing I need to point out. The Patriots played in an unbelievably weak division. When the realignment occurred in 2002, the Patriots were placed in the AFC East with the Jets, Bills, and Dolphins. Not exactly cream-of-the-crop organizations. I'm not denying those franchises had a lot of success in past decades, but from 2000 on, those teams were almost always a laughingstock, except for a few select years, like the Dolphins in 2008 and the Jets in 2009 and 2010. Other than that, the Patriots never really had a major threat. I mean, Tom Brady was 32-3 against the Bills for God's sake. I also believe playing in such a weak division helped extend Tom Brady's playing career. Had Tom Brady played in the AFC North, for example, I don't see any way he would still be playing at 43 years old. Playing the Steelers and Ravens twice a year takes a toll on anyone's body, and Tom Brady is no exception. So when it was all said and done, the Patriots dynasty really only has one Super Bowl that doesn't merit having an asterisk next to it. And they played in an unbelievably weak division, which certainly gave them a competitive advantage come playoff time when most other teams are beaten up. Does that really make Brady and Belichick the most dominant tandem of all time? I don't think so. But Pats fans, I'm done making your blood boil. Here's why I break character and explain why I don't believe any of what I just said, or at least most of it. First off, yes, the tuck rule may not have been the correct call. When you watch it in super slow speed, it's clear Brady's arm comes to a rest for a brief second before the ball comes out. So yes, it was probably not the correct call. But here's one thing you have to consider. The current system of instant replay was relatively new in 2001. And when you watch it in real time, it looks like an incomplete pass. Like it looks like his arm is clearly moving forward when the ball comes out. So were they even able to go back and watch it in slow motion in 2001? I don't have the answer to that. Also, that call did not single-handedly win them the game. Adam Vinatieri still had to make 2 incredible field goals in blizzardy conditions. Now the Raiders say that call took the wind out of their sail and killed their momentum, but you can't make excuses like that and have that kind of outlook. That's like LeBron in Game 1 of the 2018 Finals when J.R. Smith had that infamous blunder. LeBron's devastation and subsequent detachment is the reason they lost in overtime. He basically gave up because he couldn't believe what happened at the end of regulation. So that explains away the tuck rule argument if you ask me. Moving on to Spygate. Yes, the Patriots got busted for Spygate during Week 1 of 2007. But that year, they nearly went 19-0 and won the Super Bowl, so they clearly proved they didn't need Spygate to be a great team. That kind of settles the whole Spygate thing if you ask me. Plus, they would have won the Super Bowl if it wasn't for one of the luckiest plays in Super Bowl history, the David Tyree catch. So in my opinion, the Spygate argument just doesn't hold up. Now on to Super Bowl 49. Yes, the Patriots got a big break when the Seahawks didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch. But like I just talked about with Super Bowl 42, the Giants got a huge break when David Tyree made that ridiculous catch. But nobody says, oh, the Giants should have lost that game, that Super Bowl shouldn't count. It's also dumb to say that just because you get a lucky break, your Super Bowl doesn't matter. You're still the team hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the game, and that's all the history books care about. Moving on to Super Bowl 51. Sure, the Patriots got some lucky breaks during their 25-point comeback victory, but they still came back from 25 points to win the game. That doesn't just happen. You clearly did something transcendent that deserves praise. And once again, all the history books care about is who won the game. Plus, I'm a Browns fan, and calling a 25-point comeback victory lucky delegitimizes our 25-point comeback win against the Titans in 2014. So why would I want to do that? And that brings me to my fifth and final point, the AFC East. Yes, the Patriots played in a very weak division, and it certainly was an advantage through the years. But this was obviously out of their control, so they can't have points knocked off or something like that. Plus, they always took advantage of playing in a weak division. They didn't just do the bare minimum. They had countless 12-win seasons, and they had quite a few 14-win seasons. It's not like they were just squeaking by with 10-6 records. And I touched on how the Patriots were lucky they didn't have to play the Steelers twice a year, but they always seemed to beat the Steelers and have Ben Roethlisberger's number. So playing the Steelers probably wouldn't have mattered a whole lot to them, although I do believe it could have shortened Tom Brady's career. So because of everything I just said, no, I do not believe the Patriots dynasty is illegitimate. I do still have some questions about Spygate. For example, I would like to know how far it really went. Like, are those rumors about bugging opponents' locker rooms and stealing opponents' play sheets true? If so, that would be very troubling, and I might have to reconsider the Patriots' first 3 Super Bowl wins. But other than that, I don't have any reservations about the Patriots dynasty. What they accomplished deserves endless acclaim. And that's going to wrap up the video, everybody. Pats fans, I hope you watched the entire video and didn't just blindly hit the dislike button. This was just a video to get people thinking a little bit, because I've had this thought about New England's dynasty for quite some time, and I always wanted to share it with an audience just to hear what they'd say. So I'd love to hear what everyone out in YouTube land thinks. Please share your thoughts about my little theory. Anyway guys, please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Please follow me on Twitter. Please follow me on Twitch, and please consider supporting me on Patreon. Until next time, I'm Ramen Ravi, and thanks for watching.